I don't know, man. WB had a great WrestleMania 38. It was fantastic, full of a lot of memories, and usually one of the biggest highlights of the year for most wrestling fans, myself included, is the Raw after WrestleMania. Usually that's when the huge, angles start for the year. That's where some of the amazing debuts come out, some huge news, something shocking usually happens, and I gotta be honest, this Raw after Mania absolutely sucked. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was fatigue from WrestleMania weekend. I mean, they literally had, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 4 days in a row, at least, in Dallas, Texas area where Mania was just, the crowd probably was just fatigued by the time Monday night happened. But let's be honest, a huge part of that is that Monday Night Raw is 3 freaking hours, and I gotta agree with the sentiment. Seth Rollins supposedly had an interview today where he said 3 hours is just obnoxiously long. It's getting that way. It feels like stuff just gets so drawn out and stretched out over a course of a period. If you guys don't notice, the next time you watch Raw, they will literally have a wrestler make an entrance, get into the ring, go to commercial, do a video package, and that wrestler will still be in the ring without the opponent even being out there yet. So then the next opponent makes their entrance. They show another video package. Sometimes they'll even go to another commercial break, and then the match starts. Like, okay, I get it. WWE is a multi-billion-dollar company. These are entertaining athletes out there. I'm not knocking the athletes. Let's get this established here, because I'm an indie wrestler myself. I have great respect for the athleticism, for the professionalism, for the hard work and dedication that a lot of these athletes do up there. They've made it to a pinnacle that I will never be, and a lot of other people that are independent wrestlers will never be. So I appreciate that, but it's the production and the writing and the creative is just stalling Monday Night Raw. I always see it in my live streams. People are saying Raw is so boring, WB so boring. I don't think NXT and SmackDown are so bad, but those shows are 2 hours. Those shows fly by. Those shows have good timing, and it just seems that Monday Night Raw is being self-destructive, being 3 hours, and I think that didn't help the audience fatigue after Mania. But let's go ahead and do a soft recap. This ain't gonna be edited or anything. I'm just gonna go over it. The show did begin with Cody Rhodes giving his first promo since returning to WWE. Apparently it was not scripted, according to appearances and media interviews that Cody Rhodes has had recently. It wasn't a scripted promo at all. They allowed him to have a live mic and say what he wants. He established that his goal is to become WWE champion because his father never had it. Seth Rollins came out to the ring, shook the hand. This looks like the beginning of a good rivalry that's probably going to have a rematch at the next pay-per-view, if not at SummerSlam. So it looks like Cody's going to be tied up with Seth Rollins, which is not a bad place at all. Seth Rollins is one of the biggest drawing stars on Raw right now. A very good heel. This promo was pretty interesting. It was a good way to start Raw with some hype. I was like, all right, we're going to have a lot to go off of here. Now, the next up, the actual first match of the night was a tag match. It was Naomi and Sasha Banks defending against Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. I always want to say Liv Tyler. But this match was just okay. I'm going to be honest, and I'm not trying to sound sexist here, but I'm just getting tired of women's tag team matches on Raw. It's always like the same 4 or 5 people involved in them. It's just, it's a quick way to tune out, and there's nothing wrong with these matches, but when you're having a Raw after WrestleMania, you want to have a banger. You want to have a banger, and I probably honestly would have saved Cody Rhodes for the second segment of the night, or maybe even the middle segment, like at the 8 o'clock hour. I would have started off the show with a huge, quick, fast-paced matchup, maybe with a big debut against somebody. But I wouldn't have put this tag match right here. It was basically something that we've seen all the other 52 weeks of the year. To open up with this as the first match of the night after Raw after WrestleMania was just kind of like, it wasn't, I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't good enough. After that, we had Kevin Owens come out. He did a promo where Elias, or should we say Ezekiel, came out. They repackaged Elias as Ezekiel, the younger brother of Elias. to me, this just, I'm going to see what happens with this. It was interesting enough. The crowd was responding. It'd be interesting to see where this goes. I wish he would have just stayed as Elias, but again, we have Rick Boogs doing the guitar gimmick now. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see where they do this. There's just kind of, the segment kind of fell a little flat after the Kevin Owens and Austin thing, the match at Mania. I don't know why they had Zeke come out and introduce himself to Kevin Owens, and there was no like physical altercation. He just kind of left. It kind of was like awkward. If I was to have done anything, I would have at least started the show off with Kevin Owens coming out and doing this segment, but having a wrestling match happen with Zeke and Kevin Owens. So I would have made Zeke versus Owens the promo, the match, open up the show at that with a debut. I would have did that. After this, there was Dominic versus The Miz, which lasted like a minute long, which was kind of strange that they kept it so short. Usually when there's matches that go short like that, that means somebody's going to be getting released that's in that match. If you've noticed in the past, I remember one time it was Drew McIntyre versus Low Key or Caval, and Caval got devastated and destroyed. And that was it. So I don't know what the purpose of the match being so short was, except Veer debuted afterwards, so maybe that was it. Honestly, they probably could have just had Veer come out against Dominique instead of having Miz in any kind of match. You know, to have Miz out there in a match and it'd be less than a minute. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I probably would have did the same thing, but actually had Veer come out and defeat Dominique in less than a minute, if that was me. So how I would have adjusted this, I would have had Kevin Owens and Zeke. The Kevin Owens promo, Zeke comes out, wrestles Owens, and wins, or Owens leaves somehow, whatever. Then I would have opened up with the Cody Rhodes promo as a second segment. Then I would have did the women's match. Then I would have had Veer debut against Dominique. And then I would have had, whatever else is next after here. So I would have adjusted a little bit, but that's easy for me to say because I'm armchair quarterbacking and coaching what I would have did for Raw. But to me, that just feels like it would have flowed a little bit better. It seemed like that having two promo segments back to back kind of slowed things out. There was another promo. Bianca Belair came out. I just feel too many promos in a row like that. Yeah, you're trying to establish storytelling, but in a way, maybe just do some backstage packages or something. You know, remember the Monday Night Wars? There was backstage promos and interviews and segments left and right, and it was a continuous flow of content happening. You know, a match, backstage segment, in-ring promo, match, backstage segment, like constantly was just flowing. You're 3 hours in, it seems like they're just trying to stretch it out and make as many ring entrances and in-ring promos and stuff to just drag out that 3 hours because the matches aren't long enough. You have 3 hours. Why the fuck is Dominique and Miz only 1 minute long? What else on the show needed to be given more time? All these promos? We alone just already at this point, we had Bianca Belair promo, Kevin Owens promo, and a Cody Rhodes promo. And then two random debuts. The Ziggler and Braun Breaker match, I'm going to be honest, it was good, but after this point, I fell asleep. I honestly have a trouble staying awake during Monday Night Raw most nights. Nothing against the wrestlers, let's be honest here, nothing against the wrestlers, but at this point I did start to doze off just because it was just dragging out so much. The Braun Breaker match, he's gold, he's money. He's gonna be doing big things. I'm glad they pulled the trigger and made him champion again. And then after this we got I do know that we had an MVP heel turn where he betrayed Lashley, and that was another promo segment. He's managing Omos, which I think that's a good pairing, but Lashley needs a mouthpiece as well. Maybe a change in scenery. Move Lashley to SmackDown. I think Lashley would do good in SmackDown. Then after that, we had a breakup. There was like a match with, I guess, Carmella and Zelina versus Natalya. I was asleep during this. Again, nothing we haven't seen, but then they broke up. they lost the tag titles, and then apparently Corey Graves and Carmella made out, and it was kind of cringe. I saw the highlights off of Twitter, and I'm just like, yeah, they're trying way too hard to be like the Attitude Era. They're trying way too hard to be like the Attitude Era. Then we got the Usos and Austin Theory, which I think Usos are fucking fantastic right now. Austin Theory's killing it as a heel. RK Bro and Finn Balor. Finn Balor seems like he's kind of been in a weird place. Like, he's being put in all these main event matches on TV, but then he was nowhere on Mania. He's not any big angles. He's kind of like in a weird feud with Austin Theory, but Austin Theory was focused on Pat McAfee. Like, you would think Finn Balor would have at least run out in the Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory match at Mania and helped Pat McAfee win, or at least protect him against Vince McMahon. Like, Pat McAfee won against Austin Theory, which was a good match, but you would have thought Finn Balor would have interfered somehow or anything like that, or at least stopped Vince and Austin Theory from beating up Pat McAfee. But yeah, they've kind of been using Balor to put over Theory, which is good. Theory has potential, but they got to do something with Finn Balor. I say move him over to like SmackDown. After that, we got Edge and Damian Priest doing a promo. You know, interesting enough. His stable seems like it's gonna be pretty good. I think this new gimmick for Edge as a heel is gonna be pretty good. Then we had Street Profits and Alpha Academy, which Alpha Academy, I'm starting to slowly but surely grow on top of them. But honestly, this is all stuff that we've been seeing before Mania. There's nothing really new on the show besides Edge's stable, Veer debuting, and Elias being Zeke now, and Cody Rhodes. Everything else is stuff that we've already seen for the most part of the year before Mania. And I feel that the hype with Raw after WrestleMania is always in the big shocking debuts and the new angles set up, and there really wasn't much of anything new here. I don't know if it was just because it was the end of the 4-day weekend that they had with Mania week at Dallas, and the crowd was just fatigued at that point, and they're just gonna wait till next Monday night to really start the juice and start the stuff. That could be possible, but I think a huge problem at the end of the day is that Raw is just way too fucking long. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Trying something new out, trying to talk about wrestling weekly, at least Monday Night Raw and WWE. I might get into AEW a little bit, but to be honest, I really don't watch it that often. But I could at least, maybe at least with Dynamite. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below.